You got notes? Oh, I didn't share this with you. Oops, sorry. I forgot to share this with you.
We're rolling.
Oh, we were rolling?
We're rolling.
I wasn't ready.
Sorry.
All right, episode 11, follow-up podcast. Today we're doing Matt and Shane's secret podcast with Peter Attia. It's called Outlive. Peter Attia is one of my favorites. One of my podcasts I listen to the most. And I picked this podcast because I think it's a perfect intro for people that haven't gone full podcast health deep dives to like see what Peter Attia is about. Because normally he's very, very serious. He's like, you can tell he's a PhD, but you can't be serious on Matt and Shane's podcast. If you like this, if you like Peter Attia on this, I'd encourage you go listen to the ones on Rogan. He's good there. If you want to dive deep, if you want to learn everything about health, his podcast is called The Drive. It goes really, really deep. Matt and Shane podcast has been killing it recently. They're on everything right now. Unfortunately, Shane wasn't on it. I know you were bummed because
I was really bummed, but yeah.
he's the star. I love Matt and Shane because if a girl asks what do the guys do when they're hanging out, go watch the Matt and Shane podcast. That's what they do. That's what they talk about. They're hilarious. It's like the peak comedy for like 20 to 40-year-old males and they're bros. This is bro comedy at its finest. But what do you think?
So I had about the same. Your main point there was, I had this note exactly. It was a great intro to Peter Attia. You missed his super technical talking. That is my exact note.
Yeah.
And so I've listened to Peter Attia a couple times. Most of the times I listen to him, I turn it off and say, this is for a date where I can actually listen to his podcast. Because it's not something...
You need a notepad.
It's not something I can work on something else and genuinely take away anything from it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I would explain it as one notch more technical than Andrew Huberman. Like you're getting in one level deeper information than Huberman. And Huberman's already one of those where I feel like I need to focus on it if I'm going to take anything away from it. Yeah, but it was a good one to get to know Peter Attia because I think it helps listen to his podcasts when you know someone, especially these technical ones, because the technical podcasts don't have as much personality. So when you know the person, it kind of helps give it a little bit of personality.
Yeah, it does. It makes it easier to listen to.
Have you noticed trying the standing podcast?
I was going to ask you. That's how I was going to start. Like, did you watch the video?
I had it up. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it, but yeah, it was up.
Dude, that intro was hilarious. I've never seen an intro before.
Oh, I must have missed that. What was it?
Okay, here. I'm going to share.
All right. But yeah, I felt like it was only right. I had to test out the standing. I think I like it, though, to be honest.
You ready?
Fire away. Just the most dude stuff.
I love their comedy. It's like, it's exactly what I need.
Yeah, dude. What's interesting is on Dave Smith's podcast, he's the star, kind of like Shane is, and his supporting cast, I don't like. They're just kind of annoying. But Matt, I didn't like love him, but he was like just like solid. Like I didn't love him. He was very good at keeping the conversation going. I don't know if I'd necessarily say he's like hilarious, but he was good. He was solid.
So he made Peter laugh. He hit him with the maybe that's why doctors' hands are soft after he talked about doing prostate. And I've never heard Peter so Peter has this deep voice, right? He's serious. He got a deep voice. He got this high squeaky laugh. I was like, well done, Matt. Well done. You got him. It was funny to see him laugh like that. Okay. So let me get some background for those that this is their first Peter Attia. One of the reasons I like him so much, one, he was like a crazy swimmer. He talked about his 25-mile swim. Just a second.
Yeah, who swims 25? He was doing marathons for swim, which is crazy. We'll cut that.
All right. We'll bring it back. Okay.
Peter's background.
For those that don't know much about Peter, he's a big swimmer. That's why he was originally on Joe Rogan's podcast, because he was telling Joe Rogan about his swims. Like he swam from one Hawaiian island to the next, if I remember right, with like shark infested waters. I mean, it's crazy. So he's a surgeon. He specializes in cancer surgeries. Then he drops out of that and gets into econ. He's in the big data side of econ for, I think it was a home insurance company, or mortgage insurance during the '08 crisis. He was on the risk management team. So he's got this medical
Not a
background.
great
He's got
look.
this. Well, yeah. Well, it depends whether he was like, "Hey, this is a problem" or not. But he got to see all that go down. But he's big in medicine. He's been in statistics. One reason I really like him. And now he's all about longevity, which, if that immediately triggers a warning, longevity, I don't trust this guy. He hates the word too. He talks a lot about health span, not lifespan. He's got a lot of stuff on medicine 2.0 versus 3.0. If you're interested in that, I can't recommend it highly enough to go listen to his stuff. But he's big on the main thing he talks about is medicine 2.0 was like the medicine you're used to, surgeries, hospitals, fixing problems when they find them. He's what he calls 3.0, is trying to prevent the problems from occurring, which is what we've talked about a lot. He's more logical about it, where he's like, there's good things about medicine 2.0. We need to keep those. But we also need to get into medicine 3.0, where I'm like, just burn down 2.0. It sucks. I need to do less of that. I need to be more grateful that if I'm in a car wreck, there's people that are very good at saving my life. It's just, you got to combine that with, I also have to take care of my diet to where I don't end up with type 2 diabetes, getting insulin put in me every day for the rest of my life.
I still love it as the car analogy of like, you got to do the maintenance to keep your car running. But if that car gets in a wreck, a fender bender, there's the auto body shops to do the surgery, fix it.
They talked about you wouldn't. So here's the quote. They're talking about how nice we have it nowadays. He said, "How lucky we are to live in a candy ass world of softness," which is great. He was talking about like you wouldn't trade spots with the king 500 years ago, right? The king of England. So
Yeah.
I had a question for you. How far back would you go to where you'd trade spots with a king?
King.
Yeah, you could
Dude,
be a king of anywhere at any time.
I think this, like, do I have to, can I be in America, like an American king, or like, is this,
Would you rather be Washington?
see, I think I would want to be in the 70s when we were trying to go to space. Like, that would be cool.
So
So, 50 years ago.
like JFK's position without the bullet to the brain.
Yeah. A little bit less of that, but yeah, I think the space race would be a crazy time to be alive if you
But you
could.
got to worry about being nuked. I guess you got to worry about that now, but
Yeah. I don't know if I'd necessarily say I would rather live then, but yeah, that would be, if I had to pick a time to go back, I would choose then. I feel like the morale was just up, man. At least in that area. I know there's some other stuff in the 70s.
back to back world champs, a little swagger.
We were cooking.
The other thing he had was Matt opened up the show with the story Peter told about in his book, where he just got done finishing the 25 mile, I want to say mile per hour, the 25-mile swim. And his wife told him, as he was eating a cheeseburger, you need to work on being not less than, which is one funny, because anyone that can swim 25 miles per hour is doing better than me and doing better than 95% of Americans. One, but two, it's like that having a partner like that is so valuable. And it's funny. Sometimes you get those beta guys that they pair up with the alpha girl, and she just like tells them what to do, when to do it, how to act. And sometimes it's good for them. We all make fun of them, of course, but it's amazing how powerful a partner that can push you can be. Is Corinne that way?
Yeah, I think she pushes me a lot.
Really? Which ways? Where's she pushing you to?
I think it would be more on like the wanting to be able to have a big house. And I wouldn't put it past her if I ate a big cheeseburger or pizza after a big race that she'd be like, why are you doing that? Or, like that didn't seem too far off.
I can see
Yeah. But
Corinne.
she's very blunt with me.
Yes, she like when it takes her a while, but when she actually does it and she's blunt, she's
I think what she does is she spends so much time being nice to everyone. So like when she's like around her inner circle, it's just like none of that tanks left. It's just like
That's funny. So, like, if we had one of the big three podcast hosts, like for health, Attia, Huberman, or Rhonda Patrick, in my mind, those are the big three. What would be your question for them? Like, what would you be curious to know? Do you have anything in your life that you're like, I'm thinking about this. I wonder what the right way to think is?
so. My biggest thing is it's kind of what Matt talked about. Is there's all these health measurement services now, like stool samples, saliva,
Mm-hmm.
gut biome. It's like why isn't there maybe this is what Ways to Wellness does. I don't know, but like I want a place where I can go. Like, and also they were talking about going to the doctor and them doing like these physical exercises and stuff like that. Like I don't go to the doctor because he has nothing to give me. Like, what's he gonna do? Tell me
Right.
that there's no reason for me to go to the doctor, but there is a reason for me to go to a doctor that would help me get healthier. Like, I can be healthier, but the way doctors are set up right now, they're not going to make me healthier. They're just there to, once I get unhealthy, to try to moderate that, I guess. So I would ask, when's there going to be a service where doctors are going to be able to give me the advice that you guys are offering on your podcast and apply it to my life? Because
Right.
that's why we listen to them, is because we want to apply the information they have to our lives, right, and our health. But why isn't there a service like that? Like why where will I be able to go to a doctor and get that?
Yeah, I think the Ways to Wells is trying to be that. We also did, I got Leslie one of those big blood panels last Christmas, and she did it, and we got like 3 or 4 sessions with a doctor afterwards to go over everything, her biomarkers are telling her and how like she
Like,
can
do you
tailor
feel
it.
like it was worth it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad we did it. It's it's like how often, and to really do it right, it feels like you need to do it like every quarter. Make some changes, like maybe you have a low E3 with your thyroid, and so you make some diet changes. You really need to be able to go back in 3 months and say, did the change work, right? But it's not quite affordable enough to where you could do it every quarter, I don't think. So I think that's the future, and they gotta get it cheaper. Like the telemedicine was not bad. It was kind of like this right here. The doctor was in that one. We were in this one. He went through the thing, and then he's like, "Do you have any questions? Here's my advice." It was nice. I could see it working, but they got to lower the price. It was not cheap.
Yeah, that's going to be a big barrier for that being successful. What would you ask them?
I think the one thing, it sucks because I've gotten all the knowledge. Now it's just the discipline of enacting it, and so it'd be something around that. Mainly, like the biggest thing I struggle with is eating too much food. I think I eat the right food. I eat too much of it. I can't stop myself. Part of me blames growing up at the Price House, where like when the good food came out, if you weren't there and you weren't, piling down, you didn't get much, if any. Like there was no like saving a plate for your brother. There's no, he's not here. We're eating this.
Yeah, and that's not a thing with a lot of people as like grown up. It's
It
like
drives
you're
it
not
drives
being
me
considerate.
nuts.
It's like you're not being considerate, like not like taking a smaller portion. It's like I didn't grow up like that. It's
No,
not like you load your plate up because there's not going to be a second round.
that's right. That like mom orders a pizza. I'm getting 4 slices right now on this one plate because if I come, I might not be able to come back and get some.
And it's not even just you're going to grab 4 slices. You're going to get elbowed on the way in to get those.
Mom, man, he took all the cheese.
great. You made me drop a piece.
Like a bunch of animals.
It was.
It was competitive. Yeah, I think it'd be somewhere along like, what's the best way to stay disciplined around eating the right number of calories? It would be my guess.
What I really want to ask them, I don't want to ask a favor of them. Did you ever watch the YouTube video with Cameron Warnes or Hayes?
Hayes, the hunter,
Yeah, he does run, shoot, and talk.
right?
I would love to do something like that, a themed like YouTube video with him, where we just like hang out for a day and just do like cool activities. I would
Yeah, that'd be
absolutely
really cool.
like
That'd be really cool.
that'd be so cool.
That'd be super.
When Houston was on Cameron's and they did that, I was like, dang, dude.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, where they carry the rock up the hill.
Yeah, they carried the rock up the hill. They went and shot bows. It was Huberman's first time, and then they did the podcast. I was like, that is such a cool setup. Like Cameron's idea for that is so cool. That's genuinely if we ever made it, whatever got successful, I would want to do something like that with every guest we had on.
That'd be really cool to have like Shane Gillis out and make him play basketball with us.
Oh, dude. Yeah, the one-liners would be awesome, man.
Yeah, they would.
To have like a camera crew to be able to get a YouTube video of it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. You'd have to live in like Austin or LA to do that.
Yeah, we also have to live in the same location.
Yeah. But that'd be cool though. Maybe one day. Maybe we'll have a super clip of this film and then like, hey, we did it.
Yeah, it'll jump to the clip of us hooping. Who would we be hooping with? I think Shane Gillis would be a fun one.
He'd be blessed.
It'd be fun to kind of bully Huberman in some basketball. I don't think he'd keep up.
He might be shorter than he looks too. Golf would be a fun one because I feel like everyone can play bad golf, right?
Yeah,
you get a couple people playing basketball and they're going to last 30 seconds. They're going to look like idiots. I mean, golf will make you look like an idiot, but it's not as embarrassing, I don't think.
No,
but like
golf.
Bill Burr would be great.
Yeah, the thing with I would like it'd be cool to be competitive, but that takes like you'd be golfing for like 4 hours. I like basketball where it could just be like an hour or like
yeah. I feel like our sport isn't very celebrity or just famous person friendly.
Yeah.
Like if you have not played basketball, I don't care how good of an athlete you are, you will look stupid when you try to dribble the ball.
I agree. Maybe we'll just have a podcast studio with the basketball hoop in it, and it's just a little light sesh.
And ping pong, there's a Bleacher Report one where they have to do they throw it, they hit it, they shoot a three. It's like a whole relay race.
Really?
I love it. I love the idea of it. There's a lot of celebrities that are just bad.
A relay race is going to be a little bit too cringy for me. I think we need to have that's.
You want to actually compete.
Yeah,
you want to show the people what these guys look like when they're competing. I like it. But I feel like we're going to need different sports. We're going to need like ping pong. Like maybe they're good at ping pong.
Here's the thing though. You'd have to pick out some sports that you'd win in though, because I know you'd get upset if you didn't win in anything.
I don't care what sport it is. Bring it.
If we do basketball, you got a good chance. Risk, maybe. I don't know. I have to classify that as a sport. But all the other ones, I think I have.
Oh.
Okay, I'll give you golf. I'd say we're 50-50 in golf.
Ping pong?
Ping pong. I'm whooping your butt in ping pong.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're going to live stream this.
100%. Dude, I had a job where I played ping pong like an hour or two a day for like 6 months. If I don't win, that was like over a year ago, but I was getting solid in ping pong.
Jeez.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Dang it.
I would have been more cocky.
Now I feel like I have the expectations now, which is fine. It's whatever. It'll still be worth it.
When you play ping pong, do you throw the ball up to serve, or do you just?
Yeah, you have to throw it.
That's a real thing. That's hard.
Yeah,
it's like next level.
Well, what we figured out is the ping pong official rules change so much each year.
Really?
Because like a lot of the rules we were looking at were like they had just recently changed. I think like the score they changed the scoring structure to be like 11-point games, and then you do like best out of 7 or something like that. And then there's some other stuff. I can't remember how we switched to serving because that seems to always change too. I think it was you 3-5.
So to bring it back to the podcast, you remember when Matt was like talking about skateboarding and going back to it
Yeah.
and being like, this is way harder than I thought it was. Have you had any of those moments yet? I mean, you're 25, where you're like, this was easy as a kid, and now you go to do it and it's a lot harder than you remember?
No, not really. I think if anything, things have been getting easier.
Oh my God. I hate you. I want to beat you in
Like
something so
I
bad
was
right now.
snowboarding for the first time last year, and that was blast. So I can't wait to go back. I mean, like the biggest difference is yes, I get injured a lot more easier. Seems like nowadays that's the only difference. But me and Banks have been rip sticking around the neighborhood. I got a little. He's got a little vest that he just pulls me like a sled dog around the neighborhood. It's a great time. Yep. Your turn.
I want to beat you in the sport right now, so bad.
In what sport?
In any sport, it doesn't matter. It
We
doesn't
go play
matter.
tennis, dude. I really like tennis as of late.
See, I feel like that we could just give the guest options. Here's all the sports we play. Here's the huge backyard we got. Let's go do. You pick.
I think we need to have like a dude perfect S studio where you guys got everything. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Are we doing like a 40-yard sprint swim? You know.
Dude, are we just gonna do a triathlon today? It's like, shoot. It's like should have had a freaking breakfast pizza this morning.
That's a sport I can beat you at. Eat and then run.
This man is insane. So we did a triathlon, a sprint triathlon this summer, and I was like, "What? Do you need anything for breakfast?" So I was like, I'll take a couple breakfast sandwiches." It's like, "Have you like tried this before?" He's like, "I'll be fine." And dude ate the breakfast sandwiches, and he did the triathlon.
I did.
A
I
unit,
barely did the
a
triathlon.
unit. It was good though,
I gotta beat Manning next year.
dude. I think
If I beat Manning, it's on. He's not hearing the end of that forever.
You gotta train this year though if you're gonna beat Manning.
You think I should?
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel
gonna
like it's
tell you.
better if I just go in and beat him raw.
He's probably gonna beat me this year, unless I think his wedding's gonna hurt him a lot in his training.
And he's got a bum knee.
I mean, I guess if he has complications with his knee, then yeah, it changes things. But
Like, when can he start running?
he started running a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, so our brother had a chip in his knee, and
He
like
had
it
a
was probably like
deformed knee.
quarter size spherical chip that came out of his knee. This is most freak injury, if you ask me. And so he got that taken out and a new chunk put in, and that was last summer, so he didn't get to do it with us. But yeah, that was a crazy injury, and he freaking just worked through that one. I mean, he's doing good now. Seems like. Yeah.
I got a question for you. So, do you think comedians are smart people? Like, do you think most comedians are in the top quartile of intelligence? Because I suspect they are. I think they're those people that were naturally smart that the education system failed. They got left behind, and they're just clever, and they think fast, and that became their.
Yeah, I agree. I think you at least like I mean the ones nowadays, yes, when they have to be off the cusp and they can go on podcasts. I don't know if comedians. I feel like they were used to be a lot more scripted and
That's a good point.
genuinely not as cool of people as they are now. I think the internet kind of puts the spotlight on more aspects of their intelligence and comedian work nowadays that kind of have better comedians. But yeah, I would say they're pretty. They always seem pretty sharp when they get on podcasts. Except Theo Ron, he's a great guy. I don't think he's a high IQ guy, but he's a great guy. I love that guy.
I think part of being funny is acting dumb because smart funny doesn't work.
Yes, he acts dumb a lot. I get that. I would say he's a smart guy. I don't know if I'm saying top 25%.
And that's what I like. It's easy to say like the very successful people are smart, but like I have a feeling that just those are the people that the education system failed. They were meant to be engineers and doctors, and they just for whatever reason didn't hit that right path.
Yeah, maybe they just weren't ever passionate or didn't find their passion for those topics. And I kind of feel bad what I said about Theo. I love that guy. So
What
that would
sport
be
would you play with Theo?
dude, a sport where we can talk the whole time. We might have to go like
Like
on
poker?
no, we gotta get him moving. We gotta get him moving. I think it'd be hilarious doing like an endurance sport. Have you seen that video of him working out and he's doing like burpees with weights? He goes, "Shit, man, I'm not even an athlete or nothing. This sucks." And I was just cracking up. That was like one of my favorite clips.
Who got him working out?
Yeah, maybe we just go work out with him.
Oof, that'd be better for me.
I don't know. We'd have to give him some options, but if he's not too mad at me because I said he wasn't smart.
You guys got beef now. We got our first celebrity beef on the show.
Yeah, dang, dude.
You don't want to beef with Theo Vaughn.
I know, man. I couldn't sleep at night. I'd feel too bad. He's a cool guy. I should have said that.
We're gonna cut
Imagine I
that
get
part
like,
out and add it at Twitter to his at mentions and see if he responds.
yeah, dude. The internet would probably light me up.
Yeah.
Maybe it gets me talking with Theo. That'd be cool.
All right, what hit next? There was a good one. Peter said, this is kind of flipping away topics, but Peter said what gets measured gets managed, and he was talking about the aura rings, the 8 sleep, the all the data things. Which it's funny. I've heard that line in leadership, and I actually use it at work a lot. I'll make metrics not just to like make people manage them, if that makes sense, rather than to really care what the metric is. It's kind of like one of those things where if they have to look at it every week and think about it, they'll good things will happen around it. It was cool to see that it applies elsewhere, in like medicine and stuff. I think it's a very good like just
Do you,
rule of thumb for people.
do you do any have any of those measurement devices?
No, I'm not a no. I don't think they're there yet.
I would love to do. See, I think I would worry about them too much, and I think maybe I'm just in a lucky spot where I'm young enough and I don't have to worry about it. But I feel like there's nothing that has big enough red flags in my health that I'm like, I need to get on top of that. And I think
Right.
anything really distract me. Any wearable or sleep monitoring. Sleep monitoring, I think, would mess me up. I would look at it and be like, oh, I'm going to be tired today. If it was
I think
bad
where
enough.
a lot of those things fail me, or I guess if they ask me what difference would make me use them, is if they were more long term. Like, I wish they would tell me like monthly trends. Like, hey, you didn't sleep as much as you normally did this month. And just like, so it's like long term major course corrections before bad things happen. Or like, you only worked out twice a week this month. Like that type of data
Do you
rather
remember
than daily.
it seemed like that's what Ways to Wellness was trying to do when Brigham Mueller was talking about it. Because he was saying they were working on an AI that could collect all the wearable information, your sleep, your whatever wearables you have, and put it all together. And like it would recognize the patterns.
That'd be
Like that
nice.
that seems like it would be a lot more useful than like these minute details of like last night to get this good enough sleep.
Right.
So
Or what's
yeah,
your HVR right now?
where it combines all that data. So maybe that's where it's going. Yeah, and it kind of sucks everything subscription, right? So then you kind of got to worry against like what are their motives.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always that collecting data issue. Do you care about people collecting your data?
I don't worry about it. I try not to allow it to happen, but I don't pay much attention to it. And I think a lot of it's inevitable at this time. Yeah. How about you?
I think it's like if it's convenient, I'll always pick the don't share my data option. Like Apple. Apple is one of the reasons we switched to Apple was it makes it really easy. You just say don't share my data. So we do that. I just there's going to be some dystopian thing where the Big Brother has so much data on you, they do something crazy. But we're not there yet. So, and there is that inevitability to it. You know, so I saw a TikTok last night. Walmart bought Vizio TVs. Those TVs are collecting data on you. It's like, come on, get
Is
your
that is
freaking
that
microphone
specific
out of
like
my living room.
is that specific?
That part's beyond what I saw, but
Because the Roku one annoys me because they have ads on their home screen, and
yeah,
it's like you're not getting 60 inch of real estate in my living room.
right.
That's for sure.
And
But
it's
no,
ugly too. That Roku home screen is horrible. Like, what was that?
I mean, like it's with how cheap those TVs are. That's in like a lot of lower income homes, and it's 60 inches that are at least one TV. That
Yeah,
just free ad real estate, which is kind of sad.
yeah. And they all have microphones now, so you can talk to them, right? Or they can record everything in your living room. Yeah, it's
I thought so. Actually, I was talking to one of our other brothers this week, and we were talking about sleep, and he's saying how much sleep he gets, and he is asking me about mine. And I said, I'm good. My baseline is like 7 hours. 7 hours I can operate good. What is great for me is 8 hours. It was kind of cool that Peter Attia said 7 hours is the amount of sleep, like in general, people should be getting. I was like, that's pretty spot on to how I've like looked at my sleep and figured out
yeah.
for myself. So that was kind of like reassuring for me.
I think I always see 7 to 9. One of my favorite parts about the current job I have is, when it gets dark, I go to bed decently early, but I don't set my alarm, so I let my body tell me when it's done sleeping. Leslie wakes me up if it gets past a certain time, but I wake up to sunlight now instead of 4 a.m. It's it's nice
And you
letting
go
your
to work?
body 8:30.
Yeah, I have that option, but I can't stand getting out of work at 5. Like I need to be out of the office at 4.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the 3 hours in the afternoon feels like an hour versus 4 hours feels like 5 hours.
There was that when we were in production and you started at 4, like you'd get to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and you'd be halfway done with your day,
Mm-hmm.
and you got people still just getting there. It was a nice perk.
I
But those
mean, if
mornings are brutal.
to me that like I whenever we're in overtime, I go in early
Really?
rather than late. Like I don't know what it is, but that morning, like even if it's 7 to noon, 7 to 1, that flies by. But that anytime after 1, once I get back from lunch, I mean, even if I don't do lunch, the afternoon's still a drag for the most part.
Yeah.
But what we should have thought about earlier was one of the things we could do is chess. I would love that. Peter talked about how hooked he's been on chess. It's like an addiction that he plays with his kids. And if you haven't gotten to chess yet and you are into podcasts, it is inevitable. One day, sometime in your life, you're going to get hooked on chess for about 6 months at least. So just know that's in your future. Maybe buy a chessboard, put it in your closet, and just wait for the day.
Or you're
But
gonna have a younger brother with no kids and all the free time in the world and
oh
just gets
my
hooked
God.
on a random thing every 6 months, and then like gets you playing it and is of course better than you because he's got a head start and nothing to
Oh
do.
my gosh, those are the most bullcrap excuses.
Chess, triathlon, where did that come from?
Well, maybe you need to just play that card on me.
I got one. It's called video games. Let's play.
Oh my gosh,
I'll
that's not
smoke you.
worth.
It won't even be close.
I would cook you in Fortnite back in the day. Now you did Warzone. You were better than me at, but
I thought we were going to be a podcast that told the truth to our audience. I don't know
I
if I
think
like
it's
where this
true.
is going. If you guys are
Okay,
listening to this, I'm sorry. We failed you.
but you said I bring something new every 6 months. You've been a
Yeah,
priest of video games for the past 10 years.
then try 20. Let's go.
So what's funny is when we have family gatherings, when Sterling's involved, we're always playing Smash Bros. Or PlayStation All Stars. But when everyone was at the house, our parents' house, the last time over Thanksgiving, someone said something about PlayStation All Stars, but nobody jumped up to go play. I was like, well, that does sound fun, but then I was like, it's whatever.
I just like to
So
compete. And a lot of times there's not a tennis court in your backyard.
a lot of times, yeah. Speaking of, what is it going to be over Christmas? What is our competition going to be?
I don't know what random hobby have you
Mom's
picked
going
up
to
the
want to get a
past
ping
3 months.
pong table. So I think we should pursue the ping pong table for the
I would
winter
love
break.
ping pong. I would love humbling you in ping pong and then telling
Oh
this
my god,
podcast about it.
I can't wait.
Let's get back. So there was one section I wanted to hit where he was talking about. Matt asked him about whether or not 30-year-olds should do testosterone, and that's not really what I want to hit on. But Peter in that said, I'd be careful where the people diagnosing you are also selling you to therapy, and that's just like such a life lesson that it's one of those things I like wrote down. Like I want my kids to know this because that applies in so many places. If someone is trying to decide whether or not you need something and they're the ones that sell it, don't trust them. Be skeptical at best.
Yeah, it's a good one. Probably more than ever, you have companies like that coming after you.
Do you take supplements?
There's a couple I take when it gets to winter time.
Yeah.
Zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C. That's about it. And really just over the winter.
That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
Dad might hear
I
this. Dad's gonna
have,
be so
those are the ones
disappointed in
that you
you.
gave me.
Just for the winter? Come on, you were raised better than that. No, I think it's funny. That like listen to all the health podcasts. That is the number one question every person gets asked in every
Mm-hmm.
podcast. The cool thing is it feels like a lot of them have narrowed down on the same recommendations. It's omega-3, vitamin D, and creatine. Those are like the three
It really came out of
everyone
nowhere,
says.
like 6 months.
Yep,
Are you drink creatine?
I do.
Dang, dude, are you jacked?
I got some water weight.
Yeah, I heard it'll put 5 pounds on you pretty quick. At least in high school, when everyone was doing it, it'd say you get at least a couple pounds.
Yeah. High schoolers are so stupid. Takes the creatine and gets water in your muscles, and they just get huge. I remember that crap. I remember, and that was my, when people started talking about creatine, that was my initial reaction. Was like, you got to talk to me about whey protein next, like you muscle. Yeah.
So I have one really big friend, and he doesn't do protein shakes. I don't. He might have.
You talking about Austin?
Yeah, he
He
doesn't do
doesn't do
protein shakes.
protein shakes.
No,
No
he's just
way.
like meat. Like
Wow. He's
yeah,
huge.
he's pretty anti protein shakes, but he's just healthy diet, and it's really funny. He's got a pretty good amount of health information, but it's more muscle gaining information that has like kind of turned out to be health information. And it's
Like
funny,
bodybuilder stuff.
yeah, because when he talks, you can kind of depict like how he picked it up as muscle gaining information. But it's like for the most part, like it's pretty good information.
That's funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
if he dropped some health knowledge on me, my jaw would drop. That would surprise me.
like I think the biggest example is like he will splurge on some dessert and like he'll go to Crumble Cookie and eat like those 1,000 calorie cookies, and he's like I can compensate for it. Like I'll be fine.
Yeah,
It's like yeah, he will be fine. It'll probably be a lot better off than a lot of other people eating that.
that's right.
But that's not healthy for you.
They've gotten some bad press recently with all the.
I've been seeing them like through social media, people hating, but have they like actually hit mainstream?
No,
They
I
just
haven't
came
seen.
out with their largest calorie cookie, or it's a
Just
brownie. It's like it's like close to 2,000.
America. Luckily, I don't struggle with sweets. Me, it's like cheese and bread, dude. The when Peter was talking about like how sauna and cold plunge is like the 20th thing you need to worry about. I love that part because he's saying all this like social media stuff. Like they always skip to the you know the supplements or the grounding stuff. And he's like, I can literally tell you 20 things more important for your health than that. And like, so if you're optimizing, if you're like in that top 1% and you want to squeak out, a couple more things, great. But how about you figure out your sleep, your exercise, and your diet first?
Yeah, I think a lot of those influencers, they get caught up in like what's important for them, and
Yeah,
they're probably in an optimizing state, right?
right.
One of the quotes is very maybe cliche quote. I don't even. I think it's from The Rock, which I hate. I didn't even want to say. I wanted to say like someone, but he's like a lot of people compare their day one to someone's day 1,000, and
That's
social
good.
media just exploits that to the extent.
Right.
I think that's a huge thing that happens today is people compare their day one to everyone else day 1,000, but you got to put it into perspective. So I think a lot of
Absolutely.
those cold plunge and saunas and stuff like that is someone's day 1,000 when they've been worried about their health for 10 years.
Right. That makes me think of those calisthenics guys. You ever see them? They're doing like the muscle ups and the crazy handstands and
Yeah.
stuff. You ever go try that?
Yeah, probably.
That's nuts. Oh my gosh. If you ever want to be humbled, go try calisthenics for the first time. Your day one
My arms
calisthenics
would be
is
like this.
your shoulder would just snap.
So, one thing that I hated to hear, which is just like the truth slapping you in the face, was like Peter Attia's biggest worry for aging is stress. Because I feel like in work, stress really motivates me and I do well with it and I kind of embrace it. But I do get stressed out and I do feel it. I think it's a good thing for my performance, but if he's preaching like it's the worst thing for aging, like that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I had some gray hairs on the side of my head.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Do you really? What do
I
you
have
do
like
with them?
5 gray hairs.
What do you do with them?
What do I do with them?
You leave them there?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go find them next time.
dude. Corinne points them out all the time.
Keeping
I
me
don't know what
humble.
to tell you.
That's funny. I mean, he does talk about like stress. You don't want a stress-free life. Stress is good for you to a certain extent. His last chapter of his Outlive book was about his mental health breakdown. Like he had a mental break. So I think that's more what he's talking about rather than just like day-to-day stress. But if you ignore it and suppress it long enough and it blows up, that's obviously going to have some adverse
Dude
health
had to be
effects.
going through it on his 25 mile or 20 mile swims, just like thinking about all of his stress.
I think it was more around his career. But so I had this for you. It's like you have 100 points to spend on money, health, and time. He talked about looking at those three things as like a balance. And we've talked about it before, like grinding in your career early on. But how are you? Have you thought about like, at the end, he was like talking about he's taking more trips now, younger, because if he waits till he's older, when he has all the money and time, or all the money but no health and little limited time, then it's not the same. You can't do the same trips when you're older.
Yeah, I think I haven't gone that route. I think I'll worry about that once I have kids that are like of the age to start experiencing like trips and whatnot. But I don't think you can do that at my age now and then expect to be able to do that when you have a family with more kids and more people. You got to choose one or the other, unless
Especially
you're
when
just
like
poor money.
Yeah. Like when so much wealth comes from like compound interest,
Uh-huh.
you got to get that snowball going. If you take breaks or spend some of that money on other things, it takes longer to roll, right? And grow. It's like it's a tough problem to kind of address. I my thought was like if you have 100 points, you can pick which way you spend them, right? Which if you want to lean more toward money or more toward experiences or more toward health, you could do that, but you got to spend all 100 points, right? You can't be lazy and unhealthy and not go spend time with family. I feel like that's the you can't I don't think you can really go wrong if you spend all 100. But
Yeah.
even if you choose one over the other two,
I've
dramatic.
been big off Ben Patrick's last episode. The last episode we did with Ben Patrick, where he explained that he doesn't do any like Netflix or any form of dopamine like for his evenings in the form of like TV. Basically, stuff that doesn't progress your life.
Right,
Short term,
entertainment.
like spending time with family is different because that builds relationships. Spending time with friends, that's different. That builds relationships as long as they're good ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
That makes you healthier as well. Like that is a form of health. But spending time on Netflix, that hour is the only time you're ever going to benefit from that time you're spending.
Right.
As opposed to relationships, you can benefit like a million different ways down the line if you have a good relationship with someone, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's a job or that next connection, whether it's just enjoyment with time spent with them. Like it's really investing in compound things that compound, right?
Right.
And the TV, the TikTok, that stuff isn't going to be that for you.
Right.
So I've been big in trying to focus on that. I do like 30 minutes of. I started watching The Diplomat on Netflix. I do 30 minutes of that at night before I go to bed, or
Wow.
else
That's it?
I just spend my years in my bed thinking about stuff. I have to have something to decompress before I go to bed. I've
Yeah.
always been like,
Yeah, when I'm working, like at home, I can't go straight to bed. And after basketball or exercise, I can't go straight to bed. I can eat a full meal and go to bed. Bet you couldn't have guessed that. All right, let's do takeaways. Unless you got other stuff.
no, I'm all good.
Okay. What's your takeaway? You got one?
Let's have you go first.
So Peter had this line. They were talking about the pictures, which is hilarious. But he said, I don't want to profile them, but I have thoughts. I'm going to use that on somebody. I think that's just pure genius.
What do you say?
He said, I don't want to profile them, but I have thoughts. Which is essentially like it's like a clever way of like saying I'm judging you. I really like that line. That was funny. You got any?
No, I don't really have a takeaway from this
Didn't
one.
come prepared for the test. What a bum.
Well, do you want me to make one up? I don't know if that's the right way. I think my initial takeaway was I really enjoy Shane Gillis.
He would have been great on there. I wonder, like, I'm sure he's super busy, right? But like, he obviously makes time to do the other podcast with Matt. So it's like, did he dodge this one because he chugs 20 beers of Bud Light every
Yeah,
Friday?
dude, I don't need to be part of
I don't need to hear. He's in that group that scoffs at all the health stuff. He's like, whatever, dude. We're all gonna get cancer anyways.
it. Yeah. Actually, no. What my takeaway would be is I want to try out Peter Attia's podcast again. I haven't tried to listen to it in a long time.
Yeah.
There it is. That's where it was. I dug deep, figured it out.
Well done.
All right, that's a wrap.
Episode 11.